somebody knock, I want to do an interview about tattoos. I'm doing a study or whatever the case is. And I'm so sick and tired of the same questions. So far, you guys have done really good. But like, why is it that it's so popular to get tattooed today? It's like, dude, I always thought it was popular to get tattooed when I was a kid. It's cool, man. Yeah. It's cool. Right. Now it's almost not cool. It's like, black and gray pocket watch and rose.
What's going on, guys? It's another episode of the Talk About It podcast. I'm Lauren Fulmer.
I'm Victor Dantas.
And that's Hawk.
Hey! What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? Hawk from Hawk's Tattoo. Hawk, how are you, man?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right.
Good. I appreciate you coming in and sitting down with us. Tattoos are something everyone knows about, and some have them, some don't. And we'll kind of dig into that whole industry and some of your experiences. Probably some interesting ones. We'll get after it.
Yeah.
Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, Hawk?
I was born a poor white child, Monmouth, Illinois. Yeah, to a very humble family, middle class, lower middle class. But yeah, other than that, I'm a hawk, so I was hatched out of a nest. So there ain't much to say, really. Humble upbringing.
Yeah, well, what got you even into artwork and tattooing?
Oh, I was born a savant, so I was drawing people in places from memory when, between kindergarten and first grade, using depth and everything, So I remember in 1969, my sister was graduating, and I was sketching portraits of her, so at that time, I wasn't born yet because I've been 24 years old for like 3 years now. I finally graduated a few years ago, but yeah, I was. Let me see, so 16. Yeah, I wouldn't have been quite 7 yet. Yeah, I've been 8 that year. So in December, that's when I celebrate my birth date. Yes.
In December.
Yeah, but that's not important.
I was going to ask, is that really your birth date, though, or that's just when you celebrate?
Well. Come on, let's go. All right, come on, pick it up.
Hawk, what was your first tattoo you ever did?
I can't tell you that.
Yeah, you can.
It's a dragon on my former wife's shoulder. That was my first tattoo that I did. It was lovely.
Did you
God
have
rest her soul. She's up in heaven now.
Okay.
Yes.
With a dragon.
I didn't know the gun was loaded. That's all.
Yeah.
I can say about that. But yeah, go on. With my dragon, yeah.
Yeah. What was your first tattoo on your body?
It was a star. It took me forever to figure that out. There's a friend of mine from Nashville, New Hampshire, who made national headline news for beating damn near to death this hobo in a park in New Hampshire. He had homemade poke and jab, and I was 13, you see, so no legitimate tattoo studio would ever take me in, and tattoo me. So, we were bad boys, and so he wanted me to, let him tattoo me. And, come on, man, I haven't figured out what I want yet. Went through that quite a long time. And finally he says, hey, well, let me figure it out, and I said, no, that's okay, because he had a homemade tattoo of a heart with a banner through it. It was supposed to say mom, and so they did the heart and the banner, and they started lettering mom, and it only got the last leg of the M on mom, and it looked like the abbreviation of Monday. And I always introduce him as my friend Danny, who loves Mondays, and he hated that, right? So I just figured out, I was like, let's just do something I can't regret and be a star. And I've really given a lot of thought into that, ever since, when I started getting lots of tattoos, my father stopped me. My father ran a service station just a couple blocks from here for 37 years. Service to the community. Was a great person, great parents, thank God. And I remember him saying, hey, what are you getting all those for? And I just replied with, I don't know, I guess I like them. Which was, in retrospect, a great answer, because I just like them. There's all kinds of motives for tattoos. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and we've added to it since I first started tattooing 44 plus years ago, okay? I've been tattooing for over 4 decades, for crying out loud, So anywho, I felt that was a damn good answer. Because, as far as motives go, peer pressure, allegiance to some society, herd mentality, the list goes on and on.
Matching tattoos.
Crypto homosexuality. When Bill Goldberg started getting tattooed on his buff shoulder. You know, I'm not saying anything about gay, nothing like that. You know, it's because it's psychology, for crying out loud. There's lots of psychology in tattooing. But I had muscleheads coming in, you know, from the gyms wanting that very same tattoo because they admired Bill Goldberg's physique. You see, so and it came to be such a fad that, you know, I had to have this vision of a gymnasium of guys working out, you know, with the same damn tattoo on them all. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Maybe the arm side would be different or something, but yeah, you know.
What would you say? Sorry, what is where did the whole tribal? You know, a lot of people get those like tribal bands or something, and it just became very popular.
Yeah, well, we own those things. You see, you know, in the United States, you know, we're a melting pot. You know, we take things and morph it into what we like. No different than fashion. You know, it's like shoes. You know, I mean, nobody's really wearing platform shoes anymore. But you know, where the hell did that come from? You know, it was cool in the '70s. You know, I had a pair myself. I had to go to Chicago to get them. They didn't sell them around here in Monmouth, Illinois. I'll tell you that. But anyhow. Yeah, you know, it's, you know, culture ripping in the beginning, but ultimately we end up somehow owning it. It's like, you know, the Japanese traditional tattoo, you know, it's something that appears beautiful to our eye. You know, our brain, utilizing our eye, finds something attractive, and our bodies are temples, so we want to adorn our temples, don't we? You know, we want to change the curtains up, right? You know, but you know, you don't want to hang a painting if you know you can't take it down. You want to make sure that painting's the one you want. But anyhow, yeah, so tribal, you know, we started with just simple slish-slash, then it evolved to, you know, three-dimensional, then three-dimensional color, granite-looking tribal, and so on. You know, I judge the largest tattoo conventions in the world, okay? So, and that's Philly and now Chicago. So that's with the Villain Arts tattoo conventions and festivals. But yeah, and I'll be judging again in Wrexham, Wales in November, where I'll also be tattooing. And in fact, next Tuesday I board a plane to go tattoo in London. So I'll be tattooing there and then representing my country.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
So tattooing has literally brought you places all across the world.
It has given me accolades that I never set out for. I mean, it's the craziest thing. I could go on and on and on. You know, interviews entered the Library of Congress ×2. I've been written in 2 fictional novels, 1 nonfiction. You know, a world record holder in tattooing. I could go on and on. And I never set out to do one thing, not one single solitary thing, other than support myself and my family.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but you know, when you tattoo for over 40 years and you do the public well, and you are truly invested in what you do to the point where you understand the craft of tattooing, you know, it's being really perverted today. You know what I mean? You know, people just look at it as this is an investment. So you'll find some guy who retired from something and he thought, well, I'm gonna breed Shar-Peis because they get $1,000 a piece on them. And then, oh, you know, I think I'll buy a couple tattoo studios, you know, and which is just horrifying to us who really respect and invest ourselves in the craft. You know, I spent a lot of time with the longest tattooing people in the world, you know. Doc Price, I'll be sharing time with him in November. You know, he's 90 years old, been tattooing since, you know, the 50s or 60s. But yeah, the guy's amazing. You know, you can tattoo circles around most people. You know, a lot of people think we get worse with age or something like that. We get carpal tunnel or something, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, actually, you know, I watched him autograph a guy's book once, you know, and the first stroke he made was just one pen stroke, just wah, you know. I'm like, oh crap, you know, and he's just whipped, and there was this panther head with a dagger down through its head, and it's just perfect, you know, flawless, you know. And the guy is amazing, you know. Yeah, he's the longest tattooing guy in the UK. There's one person who claims to be the longest tattooing person, and she's like 109. You know, I mean, I don't even know that this is all factual. I have to look at it, you know. But anywho, yeah, they actually get tapped for information for the History Channel and that. One day I was sitting in the living room watching a program, and tattooing came up in the program, you know, and I'm like, wow, yeah, that's interesting. Hey, they got that right. That's pretty cool, man. That's spot on, you know. You know, the history, right? You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I take in, you know, at the end of the program, I'm like, you know, that's pretty good. I look over at my wife and says, I enjoyed that. That was. Then there's my name in the credits I didn't even remember, contributing to that because they hit me up right in the middle of my work, and my clients are most important to me. So I'm setting up to get ready to tattoo whatever it is, and then all of a sudden I get this email and a phone call and all that, and all the photos are coming through the computer. I got to write up this and that, hit send. So there you go, send that off to them, and then get my butt to work, right? And so I forgot all about that one, you know what I mean? But, it made me feel good because I was, for a change, flattered with, what I was seeing, and it was from me, because a lot of this stuff's really nonsense, on television. It projects, something that's totally fake, the whole reality program, the aspect of how oxymoron that is, it's so unreal, so
it's not reality,
rehearsed,
right?
Scripted and so forth. I know people that on these programs and that, and behind the scenes and such that, they're barely a novice in tattooing, and they get thrown in there because of the the kind of controversy that might bring to the program,
Speaking of reality TV shows, and the opportunities tattooing has brought you throughout these 40-plus years, there's a gentleman on a reality show that you've had an opportunity to tattoo. It's the American Pickers.
I've tattooed celebrities, movie stars. I've tattooed porn queens. I've tattooed every walk of life. I've always said, people say, do you ever tattoo anybody? I said, look, I've tattooed on politicians and attorneys and good people too.
And good people too.
How's it? What's the question?
Was you've worked with the gentleman that does the American Pickers show?
Oh, Frank. 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 Yeah, great guy. Frank and I, you bond with people when you tattoo on them, and I've tattooed on Frank for years, you see. And when he started that program, he was well covered with tattoos. He stopped short of his sleeve, you see, because, you walk up in the backyards of somebody's house in West Bygod, Virginia, right? Fully tattooed to look in their barn, you might catch the other end of the wrong end of a shotgun, you know what I mean?
Right.
And since then, though, he's fully sleeved down to his fingers, so, now that he's no longer on the program and that. So, Frank's quite a character. He's the most genuine person. In fact, he's more genuine in real life than he was on the program. But he's the most genuine person on that program, I should say. Frank suffered some illness and so forth that I don't want to get into. But God bless him, he's a great guy. There was a time when I didn't even want a tattoo on him because he's always pulling that American Picker stuff on me. So how much are we talking here, Jim? And I know he's like skinflint about this. It's like it's $120 tattoo. It's $90. How's that? I was kind of thinking like 70. I think 70. 70 sounds better to me.
Right.
Why don't we meet halfway? I'll give you $80. How's that sound? Like throwing a $5 tip. Okay.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, you get that quite a bit though, don't you? People always want to negotiate pricing.
It's really weird because, man, this is on your body forever. This isn't your car.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You want
to
a
buy
deal.
a brand new freaking Jeep for $90,000 or what? You know what I mean? And not knowing that, look, man, I'm not just invested in 90. It's going to be well over 120 by the time I get done paying for this piece of crap. And about 30,000 miles is throwing codes, right? And this is on your body forever. You do not want to kill my incentive when it comes to your body forever.
Right.
Instead of getting the Mona Lisa, you might get Groucho Marx. You know what I'm saying? Gosh, I don't know how many viewers know who Groucho Marx is. Anyhow,
Do you have tattoos, Victor?
Yeah, I have a couple.
You have?
I thought I smelled a tattooed person in the room. Yeah. Uninitiated.
I have one.
Okay.
It was done at Hawk's Tattoo.
Real cool.
It was in like 1999 or 2000, maybe. I got mine done. It's been a while.
Adam has some too.
All right, that's it. Okay, we're okay.
We're all tatted up.
Now we can tell those plain people jokes. Okay,
Yeah.
Wasn't no tattoos. Yeah.
Mine was actually done at your shop in the late '90s, early 2000s.
Really? Is it still infected?
It's terrible.
Oh, God.
That's why I was covered up now.
I'm so sorry.
No, you were on Seminary Street at that time.
Yep.
Kind of by the coffee shop.
Yeah, I moved to 86 North Seminary Street in 1985 from 429 East Main Street there in Gillensburg, and that would be the location of the Innkeeper's Coffee House. Okay, see, so in '96 I moved a couple doors up, and they deep sixed those buildings that were there, which became parking lot for years, and then eventually the Innkeepers, Michael and Johan built on that location. Never in my wildest dreams. So I was serving coffee there. Good coffee from Cook's Company. I'd grind it and everything, All of a sudden I had all these people sitting around, and I'm like, well, yeah, could I help you? And I just thought I'd come in for a cup of coffee. And it got so expensive I had to stop doing it, and then they went away, Never did I think that, I need to, I should have started a coffee house there, but the Hawk don't serve coffee. You know what I mean? I do tattoos. I will till the day I die. People talk about, so 44 years, when are you going to retire? And I've tattooed on people who, oh man, I hope I get this job. I hope I really get this job. Man, I put in my application. They've retired from those jobs, So, here it is, it's like, man, I'm watching them. They're telling me, they're coming back from more tattoos, and they're telling me about, where they went and the trip they took and all that stuff. They've been retired now for 5 years and all that stuff. And I'm like, man, I need to get away,
Yeah.
And even when I travel overseas and that, it always seems to be working. But it's what I do, I'm fully engulfed with it, it's just, I'm saturated with tattoos.
But you're enjoying it, so it's almost like they say, you don't
And
work
the
a
people.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
How old were you when you had your first studio, and how long did
17.
it take? 17?
Yep, 17. But people seem to live a lot younger then. Now we got people 25 years old, they don't know how to work a broom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was watching a 19-year-old who couldn't operate the dustpan the other day, and I was taken aback. But my objective, when I was 8, was not getting crap on the end of my dad's boot from not. He never asked me to mow the lawn. He never told me to mow the lawn. He'd look out the window and he'd say, that grass is getting kind of tall out there. And he'd say in a tone where it's like, I better go check the gas and the oil on this sucker. I know I cleaned the deck out, so we're going to mow today, and because Dad is thinking so, so, and now he's like, meltdown, I can't mow. I don't know how to mow. Google it. Okay, nobody thinks to Google
Exactly.
doodly squat. It's like it's like crazy. It's like everybody will Google this, that, and the other. And figure out. Oh, the Porsche girl pictures. Yeah, I'm spending time watching morbid photos and stuff. Working my way through Pornhub. I don't know. Anyhow, but this is the most simple task. Replacing the S-trap under your sink. Do you want to pay $300 to have the plumber come to to fix that, or are you gonna Google search how do I fix my plumbing? That's why the big box stores do so well.
Absolutely. Well, and YouTube, you got Google, YouTube, anything.
Yeah, this program.
Yeah, we could have a. That's true. But yeah, you could learn to put a roof on,
Right.
or anything if you
learn
want to
anything.
invest the time and energy to do so.
Yeah, and then you can have fun on YouTube watching the do-it-yourselfers mess it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Learn from theirs.
No real construction person takes a sledgehammer to a drywall wall. They just don't do that. You deconstruct it. You know what I mean? But it makes for reality, doesn't it?
Yeah.
My wife she just can't wait to get that sledgehammer to that wall. It's like, oh man, it's going to make a mess. Drywall is horrible stuff to try to clean up too. Yeah.
Hawk, what's one of the most crazy or interesting tattoos that you've ever done?
I've had that question now.
Yeah, what is something weird or just you're like,
Or
you
maybe the
you
location
really,
in the body that's the worst.
Dude. Really, there's things I can't even talk about. Literally, you wouldn't want me.
Right.
There's censored stuff. There's things that, oh boy, yeah.
So how does that work into say your relationship? You got.
I could say things that you want to hear.
No, but I'm
the
serious.
Inner anus,
But Hawk, how does
what's
it?
the sensation of the inner anus to be tattooed and things like that? Because it's been done. I've done it actually. So. People generally when they ask me where's the worst place to get a tattoo, I always reply Omaha. You know what I mean? Because what do you want to hear?
Yeah.
You want to hear something dark and something that you because it's like the imagination. It's like when Hannibal Lecter got described as to what he did to some nurse, in the movie Silence of the Lambs. They didn't show the picture, but they said this is what happened when she turned her back on him for 30 seconds or whatever. Your mind plays wonderful videos. Yes.
What's it do? What I was getting. What's it do for your relationship? I don't know if you're married or girlfriend, whatever. But in having to, some women are coming in. You're tattooing random parts of their entire body. Does that ever cause any controversy at home?
No.
Well, good. That means you got a good one.
My wife was my sexy Terry, as I called her, for 16 years.
Sexy
yeah.
Terry.
She now works for the DMV, which is just insanity, I swear. I thought I had it rough with clients that come through my door at times,
Yeah, screw
and
that.
The DMP, even a quadriplegic needs a state ID to a degree, you know what I'm saying? So, it's not just people coming in to get their driver's license, and you deal with, so many different psychology. Yeah, oh my, yeah. Poor soul. And then she's married to me, yeah. But no, it's never, that kind of thing. I'll tell you this, though. I remember that interview that you did with the lady on the dating game, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that, years ago, this is how times change, because I've seen so much evolution. You spoke of evolution there early on today. In the beginning, you'd have the boyfriend watching right over my shoulder so I didn't get handy with his gal kind of thing. Now I get some lovely lady in my chair, and I'll say, "Do you have a boyfriend?" And she says, "Yeah, but he'd rather be home playing video games with his friends than, with me." But not once did the term chivalry come up in that conversation, where she spoke so eloquently of, how, the proper dating, blah, 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 and all that stuff, which was like bonbons and roses, and, let's take you out to the, proper ways and so forth, which is, basically, in essence, chivalry. A lot of people laugh about that nowadays, sad, but it's a sad fact of the way relationships are.
I'm still a door opener guy.
Yeah.
You open your girl's door at the car?
You can get jumped for that, though.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah, but man, you get attacked for it.
You better start.
You don't know what to do anymore. You don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
You hold the door. In fact, it's been 100 years ago now. It seems like since I was at the video store and I held the door open for a younger man. So I'm the elder and I'm holding the door for the youth. It's cold out. The guy had a big puffy, winter coat on. He says, "Who are you, my mother?" I'm like, man, I want to follow you in there, kick your butt, you know what I mean? Yeah, drag you back outside, treat you something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
See, and that's illegal now. So, it's a sad day and age when we can get verbal assault charges for telling an a-hole that he's an a-hole, you know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Yeah, you can.
I didn't know if you could cuss on this.
You can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever.
What I hate is,
all right.
yeah. But I hate when you hold the door for somebody and they just go right in and not even. I'd rather the guy say, "What are you, my mother?" than just completely ignore.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, "You're welcome."
Well, maybe
go
that's
ahead.
you. I still want to grab that kid by the coat and drag him outside.
Yeah, that one too. But that's the one that really drives me nuts. Like no acknowledgement whatsoever. That one drives me nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are you done getting tats? You feel like you still got some more to get?
Well, when I can find a spot, I'm totally covered.
Are you getting?
I got these little, bits and spots. I can't get anything large any longer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're all covered. So, yeah.
So you got your back, chest all done up?
Oh yeah.
What happens if you're
all the important parts?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
if you're tattooing someone and you make a mistake? What happens? Like, does that happen often or?
I'd kill him. I bury the body. I use lime.
There's no proof of this.
Because nobody can ever talk about it now. You don't. People say, I've always been. What happens if you mess up? You don't mess up.
No.
No.
Because then what about the tattoo removal? Is that something you offer?
Tattoo removal. I study these things. There's so many categories. In tattooing, and to learn. A lot of people just think, I'm a great drawer. I could do tattoos. Now you got to become a chemist. For the chemistry of the pigments. You have to become a dermatologist to just understand what those pigments will do to people. The skin itself, that is your canvas, because you're not tattooing on, you're not painting on a canvas. You've got an organic canvas. It's 3-dimensional. Okay, this comes with its own personality as well. When people come to me and they'll say, so. I really feel very passionate about being a tattoo artist. I was like, oh really? You want to tattoo on big fat sweaty bikers that might pass out on you, and then you don't know what to do? I mean, what do you want to do? Is this what you're dreaming of? No, of course it isn't. You know what I mean? But that's what you run into. It's quite an array.
Yeah.
Is there a place on the body that hurts more than others, or the one that hurts the most?
Yeah, people are different. there's areas that I recognize are different for males versus females, things
Yeah.
like that, you know. But you know, I've always said I love getting tattooed. I just hate, or I love tattoos. I love having tattoos. I just hate getting them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's still that's something you can't take away is that rite of passage. You know what I mean? That you know, there's numbing creams and all that. That's cheating, and it's not good for the tattoo result.
Oh, really?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Why is that?
Well, see, it numbs that surface area of the skin. It brings this blood to the surface of the skin, and it helps sweep out and wash out the colors ultimately. We now have proof, you know, of those stages, you know, of healing and that, you know, where the non-applied topical gel, whichever brand it may be, you know, versus not, you know, it makes a difference. It makes the tattoo look washed out. You know, so you shouldn't cheat that, you know. It should always be that rite of passage. It's the one thing we can't take back. I mean, some serial rapist can pay an attorney enough to get him off, and I never did it. I was found not guilty, right? You know, but that bad judgment is still there. That good judgment's still there. You know what I mean? So yeah, because you know that's the whole thing about, you know, back to the removal, right? You know, I stay on top of those things. You know, that's part of all of what is, you know, to be encompassed to be a well-rounded tattoo artist, you know, in the craft. You understand? So, you know, because you have to be so many things. But laser removal, it'll still leave a telltale sign, scar. You know, there's so many factors in removing tattoos, and tattoos that are or aren't totally removable. You know, you'll get scarring from the initial tattoo. You can't remove scars.
Right.
You know? So, yeah, it's not 100%. So, you know, it's good to think that there is something that you can't take back, you know, that you have to live with, you know.
Right.
So like that.
How is the cover-up process? You know, because you can get one covered up. What's that like?
That's one of the things that, you know, really set me ahead of the others when I first started tattooing, was my ability to view an image over a previous image, you know, something that somebody wanted to get rid of. You know, I've turned Vickies into Nancy's and so forth. You know, changed names, all that, all my life, and real master at that. And I've earned that. You know, people can't take that away from me. So in that day and age, and for many years, you know, it was like, oh, well, we'll just slap something large and dark over it that'll cover it up. And what I'd do is I'd ask the person, what is it you want to stare at for the rest of your life? And I'll see if I can't work it over that, you know? And then we take it from there, you know? So then they'd be having something they'd be happy with versus something they'd settle for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What are the best practices to the recovery process to after you have a tattoo?
Well, your body's designed to heal itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you need to?
You scuff your knee.
What are the steps people need to take to take care the best as they can of their tattoo?
Avoid things: sunlight, direct sunlight, hot tubs, that kind of thing. You know, it's really something of avoiding things, because you know, if you laid in a coma, you know, for 2 weeks, you know, your tattoo will heal fine. Okay, you know, there's all kinds of snake oil, and years ago, back in the old carny days of you know tattoos in the fairgrounds kind of thing. You know, the carny would get to town and he'd whip up his special healing elixir that you could get for another quarter, you know. That's when tattoos were $1. But, you know, and he had an out, you know, if it didn't heal well, you didn't buy his stuff. If it didn't heal well, you probably didn't eat enough carrots. You know, you could make up anything, you know. Seriously, this is true, you know. Do you eat carrots? Well, that's what it was. You know, you ate too many carrots. You know, do you eat carrots? No? Well, that's what it was. You didn't eat enough carrots, you know. Yeah, but these snake oils, you know, first came out, and I could name brands, but I don't want to do that here. Mm-hmm. But anywho, yeah, you know, it's snake oil. You know, you get, and you know, now the local, you know, big box stores full of all kinds of tattoo aftercare solutions, and it can be the cause of the problem now. You know, because you know what I use is a simple, highly refined petroleum jelly with a healing additive that makes the skin calm down, because I'm a true believer in a healing property that relaxes the nerves, so that your nerves under your skin say, okay, deep sigh of relief, now let's heal. versus an irritated surface skin. But as a tattoo properly done, that is, it's a light topical dermabrasion, okay, of the skin. And in that, that's like skin in your knee, or less actually, because it's controlled dermabrasion. When what happens when you scuff your knee? You're not drawing out, whole blood. It's the rest of your plasma platelet that, formulates to, form the scab, the surface crust barrier, keeping anything in the environment out of it so your body can heal underneath that, And one day you're taking a shower or what, and you look down, hey, the scab's gone. You didn't even think anything of it. But you put a pattern underneath that. And then it makes the conscious mind think, I've got to take care of something, and I want to give the best care ever. I once put like 9 shades of blue in this tattoo, and the guy literally wiped it out every hour on the hour and he lightened it up to like 5, and had to do it all over again. Yeah. So human interaction, it's bad. You just want to let your body heal itself. You want to avoid snagging on a nail or something. Any place you tear that scab out prematurely, you also run the risk of taking the color out along with it. I've seen tattoos that got like sliced years after the tattoo is done, and it looked like somebody just took an eraser, and went through it, because the colors can weep out with whole blood.
So, do every tattoo artist, do they have their own style? Do you have your own style? Or
Well, it's really interesting you say that, because a lot of people just copycats these days. Yeah, it's really sad. Because we got so many great artists out there, and that, but people don't really seek out the unique. It's like they tend to follow trends. But I look on my work and I can tell that's mine. Other people can tell that my work, and I feel really good about that, because I have an established, a look of my own personal artwork. I'm the longest custom freehand tattoo artist in the United States of America. It brings me great respect all over the world. I'm respected by my peers, and I'll be getting with them next week. In the UK, I'm the U.S. representative for the most prestigious tattoo club in the world.
That's
It's
awesome.
like the Illuminati of tattoo clubs. No, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
We get together 4 days and 3 nights of fine dining, live entertainment, and it's the only club on the planet that provides entertainment from within its club. It's really quite something. See, and I replaced Lou Robbins when he passed away at the age of 91. He's from Maine. Very well respected tattoo artist. So, that's one of probably the biggest feather in my hat. I took and helped set the world record for the most tattooing people most people tattooing on one human body in Derby, England. There 1 year. I could go on and on. With all the magazine interviews and things like that. I quit doing interviews for a decade. I let all my help do the interviews. When somebody knocked, I want to do an interview about tattoos. I'm doing a study or whatever the case is. And I'm so sick and tired of the same questions. So far, you guys have done really good. But like, why is it that it's so popular to get tattooed today? It's like, dude, I always thought it was popular to get tattooed when I was a kid. It's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Right.
Now it's almost not cool. It's like, black and gray pocket watch and rose. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Tattoos should be as unique as the individual that bears them. Okay, and and some people, they really put a lot of thought and concentration into what they're going to wear on their bodies forever. But then there's those people who they do need a Tasmanian devil flipping the bird. You know what I mean? That's them. You know, so you're pegging your persona. With your body. Tattooing is the truest form of self-expression that we know to ourselves, to mark your bodies indelibly for life, right? You're taking it to the grave with you. The one thing that that's going to the grave with you, even to this crematorium, is going to get burned up with you. And what's in the base of the pigment? Powder.
Right.
What your body become is ground up bones and powder, right?
I got this for you, Hawk. So there is so many tattoo shops, so many different artists. You work with them in different levels.
Nail salons.
If someone's like, hey, I'm going to go get my tattoo, first tattoo or another tattoo, what are some things they should be paying attention to or looking for in a tattoo artist when choosing who they're going to go with?
Ooh, yeah. See, the variety pack is so huge now. You know, and there's so many charlatans out there. That, you'll never see anybody start tattooing in wherever they're tattooing. I've heard them in the backs of head shops in Greenwich Village. You name it. It's everywhere. And nobody starts out by saying I'm a novice and I don't know what I'm doing, but you're going to be my experiment. A true apprenticeship. Tattoo artist, somebody who's unique and surf. The world's at your fingertips with these dang things. You know what I mean? So, let's say Celtic. Tattooing. I've always said I don't care how far I gotta go or how much I have to pay to get it done right. There's a guy in Australia that I'd go to for my Celtic, and he's not a Celtic, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If I wanted something that I found Norse, I'd go to that guy, because he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. He's done all the research. He could, literally be a professor on the subject in a college setting,
Yeah.
So, that's the go-to right there, and that's why, because I did my research, No, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't care for it. But that's why I'm going with that, as far as because especially it's always been a symbol of sorts or signal maybe that if you can't get in with that person for 6 months, they're probably pretty damn good,
right?
But then it could be that they're just lazy as hell and they work 3 hours a day. And they charge an exorbitant amount that you'll never afford. I'd like to think that I can, I want to see everybody get a tattoo. People didn't want to know what us people did, okay, until they started seeing us making money. And when we started equaling plumber money, that's when people wanted to regulate us. We're going to regulate you. It's going to cost you $550 a year plus $50 for every extra chair. We're going to have, and they didn't even have any paper printed on to what to look for. They had no clue. In fact, the Illinois state regs are loosely based on my regulations that I devised when I was vice president for the Illinois Tattoo Association back in 1993. Okay? So, sad they didn't adopt it all. We'd have better health inspections,
You mentioned that you go to some festivals to be the judge of some tattoo artists. What are the main aspects on a tattoo that makes it be good or makes it be a bad one?
When I'm on my panel, see, because it's a panel of judges, and we have some of the finest people there with Villain Arts, to judge these competitions, and it's a very serious thing. I take this extremely seriously because I've been involved in that since like 1990 or so. When I seen that there was off judging, in the early days, you'd have the guy that showed up to vend his leather crafts and make you a pair of chaps, and this lady that is an art teacher from the local college that doesn't know dick about tattoos, okay, and they were judging unfairly. The leather guy, he was giving a 10 to the gal who was going to bare her butt cheek, versus the gal that sat for 12 hours to get this beautiful bird of paradise on her shoulder, right? And I just thought that was wrong. And so the promoter said, well, if you don't like the way it's being judged, then take a seat. Mm-hmm. So I did. And, but yeah, I take it very seriously because it's such a commitment, not just from the person who's receiving the tattoo and entering these competitions, but also the tattoo artist that puts their all into what is going into the competition. So it's a big deal. But when you are sitting there, and it's almost like, if anyone can remember the old rotary slide projectors, that's what I'm looking at. 1, 2, 3. Now there'll be different classes and divisions, right? So let's say best colored medium tattoo, with color. So that can encompass quite a bit. So what I'm looking for is that wow, like, oh, that made me stop. So now I'm going to inspect it, right? I'll get my flashlight out and I'll be studying the lines, make sure every line is just crisp and there's no flaws. Because some things will look great in a photograph, but you close in on it and you'll see the flaws. So then, and I judge it accurately and fairly. And we've literally had to call people back up because of my disputes with people on my panel. It's like, oh, no, that cannot supersede this. There's no way. Okay, number 9, number 35, we need you up here to the stage, and I can bring him up. And then voila. And we'll even have maybe the promoter or somebody sit in. Well, Dr. Blasphemy, you know, he's one of the MCs, and he'll be looking over our shoulders because he's been there for all these shows. He never misses one. So, yeah, and he can tell you know, he can call bullshit from reality. You know, so, yeah. So I got backup, you know.
Yeah.
How many other artists do you have in your studio, and how hard is it to hire people? Which I imagine you're trying to find the best people that kind of matches the quality of your work. So.
You got to live up to Hawk's Tattoo reputation.
Yes.
You know, I mean, there's people out there twiddling their thumbs, you know, posting, "Hey, I got open time, I got open time, I got open time," right? You know, what's that telling you, right? You know, but yeah, you got to live up to the Hawk's Tattoo standard on tattooing. We just played host to the Lewis family from Kentucky, and they came in and knocked out some fantastic artwork for a week. You know, I have a guest house for the guest artists to stay in as well. Oh. And yeah, and it was just great times. You know, we logged in some good memories, good food. They got a good, you know, education on the area because we've got a lot to offer here. You know, there's some lovely history here. And, you know, it's not all of what we see at, you know, when we were going to the quick stop gas station, hanging outside, you know, bumming a cigarette, okay? So, yeah, you know, there's a lot of, you know, railroad history. We got Monmouth's Wide Earth. We got everything, man. Yeah. You know, no less than any place else, you know. You know, because every place has its give and its take. But, yeah, so, yeah, right now, you know, we're playing, I got one apprentice there, and let me see, so we got Wendy doing the piercing, and Wendy's one of the best piercers that I've ever had. I mean, she's one of the best piercers that I know of in the state anyhow, you know, let alone in most of the United States. Okay, I had a piercer for 15 years, and when he left, and he had to travel from out of state 3 days a week. And there were other people who could pierce in the local area, but they couldn't pierce like that. You know, I had to have the best, you know. So, you know, he came 3 days a week and all that. And when he left, I didn't have him. They said, "Are you going to replace him?" I said, "With what?" You know, I don't have somebody who's comparable. You know, Wendy comes along and you know, the tattoo gods work amazingly for people who put into it. You know, right. You really do. You receive it, you know, back out. It's been good to me. So yeah, Wendy segued into the shop. She has a lot of studios. You know, well, their piercer. You know, they cut the age of, you know, the kids that they pierce, like piercing their ears. You know, because in reality they just can't deal with some kid that's going, ah! you know, as you're trying to poke a hole through their body, right? You know. And they just don't want to, you know, for the, you know, sake of the hassle. Wendy has that motherly charm, you know. She's like, "Okay, you sit down, and this is gonna be fine." She has a little dolly that she put in her arms, like, you know, you just squeeze this when it gets too bad. She's awesome. I can't even describe it. You know, she's amazing. You know, so yeah, so everybody lives, and I feel so good. Like yesterday, Fawn, you know, posted a couple of pieces I didn't get to see, you know. We were doing the Knox College Tattoo Fair, or not tattoo, Knox College Fair, and yeah, and I seen it, and I'm just so proud. I'm so proud that this is the work coming out of Hawk's Tattoos. Mm-hmm. You know, so people know that they have been coming to me for 4 generations. I'm in the 4th generations of people. People will say, "Wow, what's it going to be like when you go to the 5th generation?" I was like, "It's going to be like this." Memorial Park Cemetery. Yeah, you know. John Turnbull's gonna be like dusting my face with nice little, you know, cosmetics or what have you. Anyhow, yeah, but yeah, you know, it is, you know, people know generationally now that, you know, that you know, you can come to Hawk's Tattoos and you'll get Hawk's Tattoos. You know, the quality's there. They know they can count on it. You know what I mean? And that's beautiful. It's just it's such a rewarding feeling, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Sam, oh my God, Sam started as a counter help, right? You know, and her penmanship is so good. And I've always said, you know, I could teach anybody to tattoo. You know, you don't have to be artistic. You know, a lot of people think that's, you know, and to a degree, it really can affect a person's progress in tattooing, because it gets in the way of learning how to actually tattoo. You know what I mean? You know, the whole, you know, this is, people go, "Oh, I'm not a good drawer. I wouldn't make a good tattoo artist." Well, that's why people go to college, at our college. You know what I mean? Become artists, sculptors, painters. You know, it's what you do. Oh, I'm starting to sound like Frank, ain't I? It's what you do, you know. Anyhow,
I was noticing that.
Oh man, bless him, he's cool.
Have you ever tattooed yourself?
I am not required by law to answer that question, but I just have to say.
Oh, so is that a law, though?
I don't trust a woman with in her hand and a tattoo machine in the other hand. And I don't want to say that some guy held my junk for any time at all. So, yeah.
Is there a law against tattooing yourself?
I tattooed my main member. Yeah.
You did?
My third leg, yes.
I heard of someone doing that before.
It was really difficult.
They put a dollar bill on
I started out
That's
here.
interesting.
I started way out here, and I worked all. Now go on. What's that now?
No, I heard of someone doing that before. They put a dollar bill on there so they could watch their money grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's a
See, you've heard
comedian,
that before.
No, I tell you, the strangest one
It was a joke,
The
bro.
strangest,
Yeah, I know.
strangest request. The lady came in. She said she said, I want on the inside of this loin, on the inside of this thigh, I want a turkey, and on this side, I want a Christmas tree. I said, that's an odd request. Why would you want to do that? She says, I'm tired of my husband saying there's nothing good to eat between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
See, I knew there was some good ones, man. Tattoo jokes.
Yeah.
Hawk,
Yeah.
man, I hope you enjoyed yourself today.
What? You take it? This is over?
No, how long you want to keep going?
Oh, let's go, man.
I got
it. You woke me up this
All right.
morning, man.
Well, you
I gotta
got
be
it.
right 11,
Right.
man. That's the life of a tattoo artist, right? You know, Lyle Tuttle, world famous tattoo artist, man. He tattooed on every continent, you know, before he passed away. God rest his soul. You know, he says, I got into tattooing because I didn't want to do a real job.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's pretty much why a lot of people do find it attractive and easy to get into. Right now, you get a lot of people who just they stick their toe in the water and it's kind of like the biker thing. You notice Facebook Marketplace is covered with used Harleys for sale. I mean, everybody donned the Harley leather and the bike and that, and now they're done with it. I get them in the chair and I'll say, so what do you do with all your? Oh, I got me a side by side. And now they're out cruising side by side. It's the next new trend. But at the same time, that was that subculture. Okay, tattooing was a subculture. At one time. It wasn't accepted by mainstream. It's kind of dull and boring when shit gets accepted by mainstream. They exploit it, they're selling it at department stores. You can find it in the casinos, tattoo shops and casinos, for crying out loud. But there are so many secrets in tattooing still. There is so much still in mystery. A lot of people you'll see on social media where there's no more secrets in tattooing. Anything you want to know, it's all there on. No, that's not true. And I'm not telling my secrets. You know what I mean? There's us who we hold these things dear and we protect these things. And it's a time-honored craft. Okay, I mean, it's stipulated that cavemen carved effigies of things on their chests. It's no different. You know what I mean? The earliest known forms of tattooing of record. Aside from the Iceman of 5000 BC plus. Were the marks left by burning cinders when we didn't have swords yet. We were beaten with fiery clubs. So during peacetime, they stipulate that they then mimic that, with pushing ashen pigment underneath the skin to appear as a warrior. The warrior societies of this country, of the native people, indigenous to the the North America.
Yeah, they did a lot.
It's a almost hidden thing. I mean, nobody brings it into the light. That the early settlers found out how to get rid of the bad boys because they had these warrior society tattoos. It was a mark of distinction, right? Yeah, but it was also that mark that got them singled out and destroyed. Because if we took these guys, moved them over there, we massacre them, then we're getting rid of some of the bad boys that are going to be troublemakers. So you watch that. There's very little photographic evidence of the early warrior society tattoos on the indigenous people of North America, and you can see it in paintings and so forth, as well. But in fact, we recreated on my chest in the early '90s, the same form, and that's the first and only that I really recognize, other than my legs and that. That was the first time that had been repeated. See, so it went away with that, it came. That's how a lot of war paint came to be, because you didn't want to get singled out, so it started disappearing. It's like, hey, you got to stop that. It's too easy for them to determine who's who the troublemakers are, you know, and so it died off, you know. Yeah, and I spent quite a little bit of my life on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. Yeah, with my family, our adopted family there. I got so much to my credit that is not tattoo related. You know, it's amazing the life I've lived. You know, you know, I can watch Forrest Gump, and I can run parallels to my own because the stuff is so fantastic. I mean, I wrote into the history books on the 100th anniversary of the Wounded Knee Massacre during one of the worst blizzards that South Dakota had in 15 years, in 1990, and it wasn't equaled until just last year. You know, it's just, you know, there's so many things that sound so fantastic that it's like, you know, and people are like, oh, you ought to write a book. It looked like the Encyclopedia Britannica. Yeah. I'm not kidding you. You know, and then the thing is, if there's people that found out I was writing a book, they might have me. You know, it's like, oh, you're not going to talk about this, are you? Huh?
Right.
You know, you don't want to do that. You know, please.
Well, I think it's awfully cool. You know, you started this episode off just talking about, you know, a poor kid from Monmouth. And you've had an absolute opportunity to travel, to meet so many great people, to be involved in really significant moments in people's lives as they're getting that tattoo forever. I think you should be awfully proud of what you've done and what you've accomplished, and keep doing. You're not even done, you know.
I'm telling you, the relationships and the encounters I've had are something that's so fantastic, and tattooing has brought me through so many of those, and it's just amazing. You know, coming up out of the tubes in London to meet with the president of a tattoo club who hands me a turkey sandwich because I forgot it was Thanksgiving. And he's like, hey, y'all, Jim, happy Thanksgiving. And I'm like, I forgot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a turkey sandwich. I forgot all about it. We were heading for the Spanish cuisine place that we just love, man. Closed now. But yeah, yes, you know, my friend Alan Dean, he owns 5 studios in Tattoo UK, you know, in London. Amazing man. You know, I'll be seeing him in that crew, and the apprentices that he has. They hang on my every word, and I really relish that because, you know, when you get that dedication, attention, and he's instilled that in his artists and that, it's just amazing, you know, because there's so many people out there just abusing it. It's sad.
Right.
That's the sad part. And I got to override that. You know, and seek out and find out those who are like sponges that want to saturate this craft and carry on and take it into the next level, because the evolution is so crazy. You know, we got iPads, you know, things, you know, that, you know, can automatically make you a tattoo artist practically. You know what I mean? But you're going to be a carbon copy. You know, you're not. There's, you know, that takes away the uniqueness, the originality of it. You know, you know, when you can see that person's style and that, you know, that's beautiful. Yeah,
it's art at its finest.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it is. It's truly an art form. It took us so many years to get recognized for that. You know, there became a tattoo college once years ago, and it was established, you know, and recognized by the state of Louisiana. And it was a big feather in our hat. We thought, wow, we really made a giant leap, you know, from being those people, you know, and look down upon. And to this day, you know, you have people being judged, you know, for their tattoo. You'll always be judged for whatever it is, the wart on the tip of your nose, whatever. You know what I mean? You know, people are going to make their assumptions and so forth. But, you know, to turn somebody away in a job application because you have a visible tattoo. Now, I get it if it's offensive and it's a swastika or something like that. Yeah, right. But, you know, if you have elegant artwork on yourself, you know, and I can go to a hospital and see nurses adorned with some of the best tattooing I've ever seen. And then I can go to another hospital where they will not allow a visible tattoo. You know, and that, you know, sure, that's their policy. They got to change. That's got to change. I want to lead the first, you know, protest on that. And how dare you? You know, in a day and age when, you know, we're recognizing people with transgender bathrooms, everything, you know, but yet, you know, your form of self-expression is not acceptable to us at this institution of whatever it is. You know, that's horrible. You know, and it's cultural as well. Norman Rockwell painted Americana. This is America, okay? He painted Americana. He painted the doctor. You know, what all?
The little family at the diner
also
eating
painted
breakfast.
The tattooist.
Yeah.
It was one of the paintings that you didn't get at the pharmacy calendar that you got for free every year. Okay, he had the veterinarian and and so forth, but he also had the tattooist. Look it up; it's beautiful. It says a story like all Norman Rockwell's paintings do, but. Norman Rockwell painted Americana. He recognized tattooing as Americana. We owned it, no different than that Japanese that we evolved with, the tribal that we evolved with. We take it in, we saturate it, we make it our fashion, and we take it, to a higher level, and we own that, right? So there you have it. It came to this country. Well, it was here already with the natives, and then as the settlers came here, did what they did. They brought it with them on the seafaring ships. It was a sailor thing, right? Ship anchors and so forth. It's part of our culture, and it should be accepted as such. And people in all cultures, tattooing has hit every culture, living and dead, in one form or another. Whether it was a mark for low herd or high society, or for a healing property or whatever, it is hit every culture, living and dead, in one form or another. So why is it you turn me down? Because I come here with an education to work as a person in your a corporation, or why? Because I got a visible tattoo. And I've found that some of the people who write those policies are heavily tattooed people. I tattoo on one of the best surgeons in Boston, Massachusetts, and his body's covered full. Okay?
Yeah.
But would I judge him? Oh, I don't want him to, do a liver transplant or, kidney transplant because he's got, whatever he's got tattooed on, or being tattooed. That's sad. But I don't want to end on that note. No. What kind of happy
I was going
note
to say.
could we end on?
Well, the happy note is I was thinking this as we're talking. If we want proof that I think at the end of the day tattoos are cool, ask any child at the tattoo, temporary tattoo.
Yep.
I don't know a kid on this earth that'll say, no, I don't want one of those on my arm. For every kid. My daughter is 12, and she's still, when you go to breakfast at one of the spots, they got the 50 cent.
I have been attacked twice in my lifetime by people of religion. Ministers, basically. And I've watched it evolve to where clergy walked into my shop, took the collar off, the robe off, hung it properly, and sat down and rolled up their sleeve. Okay? Yeah. To me, that was a progress.
Our very first episode we ever did on this Talk About podcast was with a pastor who's heavily tattooed up, Jordan Knight. I'm not sure if you're familiar or met Jordan.
I get under his skin on a regular basis. Yeah, I've done a lot of his tattoos.
He's a great dude.
Yeah, I was one of his very first. Yeah.
So we actually brought that up biblically.
I remember when
when
he was just 18 years old and getting his first tattoo. You know what I mean? And I watched him proceed throughout his life into his ministry and go through the worst, like street level ministries. The man's amazing. I mean, he's really a credit. I was kind of the devil's advocate when he first started into that too. I tried to, just test him and so forth, and he's went well above and beyond all that. No, the guy is amazing.
He's phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I'm telling you, he's a blessing on this planet, and his family. He's done so well with it all. I'm really proud to say that in my book of life that I've cataloged that and in my heart, that I've watched him, from a young man to where he's at now as a family man, doing what he does so well.
Right.
Yeah.
No, he's a great guy. And that, my friend, is probably a good positive note that we can
good humans. Good humans. Be a good human. Yeah.
Well, Hawk, thank you so much, man, for informing us and giving us some time and our listeners. Yeah. No, we're actually, what we're going to do, we're going to have you put Clear Profits and talk about it on Victor's back as soon as we end this episode.
Okay.
So thank you so much for coming,
But
Hawk.
what about the nipple clamps I brought?
That's for Adam.
All
right. So, guys, thank you for tuning in to another fun episode of the Talk About It podcast. We got Hawk. I'm Lauren Fulmer.
I'm Victor.
And Victor Dantas. You guys, thank you. Hit subscribe, by the way, too. We'll see you next time.
See you guys next week.
Cheers.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Talk About It podcast.
I'm Victor Dantas.
I'm Lauren Fulmer.
And we would encourage you guys to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell. It's going to be right below the video. So
hit the bell.
so you know when the next episode is up. All
We
right?
appreciate all the support.
Thank you.